Hail to the Chief from Blue Dwarf, written by Max Reno and Andy Jones, and recorded by Andy Jones. Original post written on March 30th, 2011. As Davie looked up at the elevator, the lift next to it let out a soft ping. Davie's pistol was instantly leveled with the doors. As the lift doors began to open, he saw who was inside and quickly lowered his gun. It was Chief of Security Rosette LaChance. He recognized her from when he came aboard Blue Dwarf. When he arrived on board the ship, he studied the command crew's public files and committed their names to memory. As he approached, the second set of doors opened, and Rosette stepped out, a laser carbine in her hand, pointed directly out of the lift. Once she realized the bug wasn't there, she lowered her gun to give her shoulder a chance to recover. "Did you see a bug come this way?" she asked, and noticed the insectoid corpse and the sword-like limb in his hand. "Ah, fair enough. Good work. Who are you?" said Chief of Security Rosette, looking first at Davie's makeshift sword and then at his face. She studied the lattice of scars that stretched across his left cheek. A long scar ran along his cheekbone and stopped a few centimeters short of his nose, while another ran across his jawbone and stopped the middle of his chin. Two small scars circled his left eye, stopping just short of the bridge of his nose, while a grey film covered his eye. She then looked at his uniform, quickly searching for rank or insignia markings. "I'm Davie Jones. I suppose you would say I'm a civilian on Blue Dwarf. No such thing today, though," said Davie, staring back. "Call me whatever you like, just don't call me DJ." "Okay," said Rosette, puzzled. "Where you headed?" she asked curiously. Davie held up a hand and said, "Listen, do you hear that?" Rosette listened for a moment, and then heard the soft sound of groaning metal. "That's the docking tubes," said Davie. "The strain of the wormhole is too much for them. I'm off to destroy a few more of them, and maybe we can shake this warship off." Davie began to walk towards the elevator when Rosette said something. "You're bleeding," she said, pointing to his back. Davie craned his head around to see his back, a large, dark patch of blood spreading across his black uniform, slowly streaming away from the large slices on his back. He had been unaware of them, and in fact hadn't even realized he had been cut. He reached into a pouch at his side and pulled out a small white tube. "Pour this on the wound for me, would you?" he said, handing the tube to Rosette. "What is it?" she asked, taking the tube from his hand. "Quick clot," said Davie. "Stops the flow of blood." She poured the solution into his wound and grunted loudly as the quick clot ran into the deep lacerations on his back. "Thanks," he said, turning towards Rosette. "I'm heading for the docking tubes. Want to tag along?" Rosette just looked at him for a moment, then spoke. "Let me get one thing straight. You can endanger your own life if you want, but when you're near me, you take orders and don't give them," she said, taking her role as security chief seriously. "If I were you, I'd head to the medibay for that and leave the ship's security to those trained for it. I want to know everything that goes on. If I don't authorize it, I don't pay for it," she said, remembering back to the week-long training sessions she was forced to go through before she was able to be officially named security chief. "Whatever," Davie said, and continued on his way. "Come on, Rufus, we've got to get to the drive room. I'll deal with him later," she said, getting him out of the lift and back on their course to the control center of the ship. Jay would be the one the Space Corps would be most targeting, and thus she figured the best place would be there. This podcast is a work of fiction and is no way endorsed, approved, or even liked by the creators of Red Dwarf. For more stories and information, visit bluedwarf.co.uk.